And the first thing is always who stood out. And I try to pick somebody from offense and defense. And today I have two standouts for the offense. Allen Lazard. He had 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 75 yards, and his second touchdown was just a thing of beauty, the dive and catch. I really think that Lazard is starting to like develop more in what is this, his 3rd or 4th year with the team? I think it's his 3rd year with the team. So I mean, Lazard, he had himself a nice day, man. And the second standout for the Packers to me was Patrick Taylor, a guy who honestly, I didn't even really know much about this dude. I didn't even know who the heck he was when I first saw his number on the field. And I was like, who is this guy, number 27, man? He's running hard. He had the touchdown. He had 11 carries for 53 yards. That's 4.8 a pop, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty damn good football right there. And like I said, he had the touchdown run. He was running physical, and he was breaking tackles. And I mean, it just shows that the Green Bay Packers, they really know how to build depth at the offensive positions, especially like running back. Lately, they've been kind of batting 1,000 on the running backs, I feel like. On defense, we just had one standout. Like I said, they let Detroit score 37 points, so it wasn't really that many people standing out on defense. But I got to give my love and my flowers to Dean Lowry. He had a sack on the day, the only sack that the Packers had all day. He also had 2 tackles and 2 tackles for a loss, man. Clap it up to Mr. Dean Lowry. Really having almost you could say like a breakout year for the Packers on defense. The next thing is, what was my biggest takeaway? And the first thing that really stood out as a takeaway was the trick plays, man. The trick plays. I thought tricks were for kids. In fact, it seems tricks were for Detroit Lions, because that is exactly what they did to the Packers. They was tricking them all day. The first trick play, the fake punt, was not successful, but I mean, it was there. They got kind of lucky that I forget exactly who the player was who was right there. He didn't even turn around. He just kind of put his hands up and he was just running. I don't even think he really realized until the person in front of him sort of looked back to catch the ball that it was even a trick play happening. They got lucky on that, but after that, I mean, they scored 2 touchdowns off of trick plays, and they had some other trick plays, I think, for like first down. So it's like the Packers need to get that shit cleaned up, because they put on film that teams can expose their ass on the trick plays. They had a couple of reverse and like a reverse that turned into a flea flicker, and every time like dudes were like wide the F open. So they need to clean that up. That's something that stood out to me. Another thing that stood out to me was, unfortunately, Jordan Love is not ready. And I say unfortunately because I feel bad for him, and I'm really sick of hearing all of the clamoring, whining, bitching, moaning, depressive, sad, just miserable Packers fans. And it's like, are they even Packers fans, or are they like Aaron Rodgers fans? But, you know, he didn't look ready. But the thing is, he wasn't supposed to be ready. He was always supposed to be a 3 to 4 year project with a lot of upside. And I mean, to expect him to even look like Joe Burrow or, you know, Mac Jones or any of these other guys who came from like pro star offenses, who were, you know, guys who didn't like come straight out of college after their eligibility, after they were eligible to come straight out. So I mean, and he played in a whole different conference. He didn't have stability at his coaching staff. There's a lot of things that has gone into how Jordan Love looked in the game. The two times he got in, the start against Kansas City, and then the second half against the Lions. I mean, he didn't have a real first season to grow and develop. Like, he had COVID protocol stuff, and even this year, like, you know, he's gotten only maybe about a month or of legitimate reps at the number 1 spot when Rodgers was having the toe thing and he couldn't practice. So, I mean, he's got a long way to go, but it's okay because, you know, he was never anticipated. He was never supposed to start this year. The running game is stacked. Like you got Dillon, you got Jones, and now you got this Patrick Taylor kid who I didn't even like really know much about, and he had a pretty good game. So I just feel like the running back room for the Packers is in good hands. They've done a good job at cultivating that talent, finding that talent, and the running game. I feel like I'm really hoping that the Packers this time around in the playoffs rely on that running game like a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Really just lean into it and let it carry them to a Super Bowl championship, because I think it will if they do. And the last thing was, but like Lazard is a legit number 2 wide receiver, and this was a conversation I had on the stream during the show, and me and a couple of my community members, me and a couple of my fam, my squad, the gang, whatever you want to call them, like we were talking about it, and they made a great point about like Lazard is. Like, you put his numbers up to any like other number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, and he stacks up really well, honestly. You know what I'm saying? He's got like, I should have had his numbers right here in front of me, but I mean, they're comparable to like most second wide receiver 2s. And I think for me, when I was always kind of comparing Lazard to other wide receiver 2s, I was kind of thinking about wide receiver 2s that are actually wide receiver 1s. Like, for instance, you could say Adam Thielen, right? Adam Thielen, he's a 2 in Minnesota, but really he's a 1. So it's like really Minnesota has 2 wide receiver 1s. They had Diggs and Thielen, and now they got Jefferson and Thielen. And I feel like Thielen, if he was just like on another team where he was the main guy, he would be a real number 1 guy who could catch 80 balls, 1,000 yards receiving plus, and have like 10 touchdowns. The last couple of weeks he's been balling, so I hope that continues. The next thing is, when was the turning point in the game for me? And I'm going to say third quarter. Packers come out. They're trailing 13-7. So they're trailing by 4 points. They have an opportunity to take the lead. Jordan Love has an opportunity to go out and, have some success, put some good stuff on film, and feel good about himself, march the team down. And instead, he fumbled on I think it was like a 1st and 10. He got sacked. Fumble, but he retained the ball, and on the very next play on 3rd down, they just like throw a pass to Juwan Winfrey, I think, and then he fumbles, and the Lions recover that, and then like they go on to score, and that kind of was like it. Like the Packers kind of got close at the end, but I feel like that play made it, extended the lead enough for the Lions to like kind of just take that momentum and not surrender it back. Where would I place this victory on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm gonna give it a 5.6, man. I'm gonna give it a 5.6 because I feel like it was just not really the greatest football. And like I said, man, defense, they was giving up all these trick plays and stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to really evaluate it given the circumstances and everything about, people who didn't play and all that kind of stuff. But, man, when you make the statement in your press conference the week before the game, the head coach makes the statement, we're going to Detroit to win. That's what I expected you to do to a team that, hasn't even won, 4 games all year, whatever the case may be. So it's like that's my score for the week. And the last thing is why ultimately the Packers lost 37-30 to the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to say ultimately it came down to a few things. The first thing was they could not stop Amon-Ra St. Brown. That man was on demon time because he was absolutely fucking tormenting our secondary, and it seemed like he had a bigger day than he actually did, because when I look at the numbers, 8 for 109 and a touchdown, that's a good day, but it just seemed like he had a bigger day. I feel like he had 12 catches for 150 yards or some shit like that. The play on the goal line where he scored the touchdown, I was like, it was so obvious it was going to go to him. How did y'all not key in on that? The second thing was, like I said, the backups were in the game half the game, and we didn't have our starters playing. So, I mean, I think that definitely contributes to the loss, especially when, I think Detroit is playing their starters for the most part, all of them. And the last thing was we lost the turnover battle. I mean, 2 turnovers to 0 turnovers for the Lions. And anytime you lose a turnover battle, most likely you're going to lose the game. All right, fam. That's it for the 5 things. Let me know what you guys think about who are your 5 things? Who are your standouts on offense, defense? What was your biggest takeaways? When was your turning point? Where do you think things got out of hand and why ultimately they lost? I love hearing from you guys in the comments. Please make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. It really means a lot to me, and the growth and engagement is really all I can ask for. And yeah, all right. Until the next show, you know what it is. Go Pack, go. And remember, the Bears still suck. G's up. Peace.